Hi, everyone, and welcome to Like, Share, Follow. Happy New Year. This is our first episode for 2021. And this week, I have the amazing Emma White, who is now an English and business educator at St Andrew's Anglican College. So, hi, Emma. It's been a little while since I've seen you in my social media classroom at USC. So, please tell me, what have you been doing? Like, when was that? When was your last class with me?
I think it would have been mid 2018. I think I graduated, so June, July 2018. And then I jumped straight back into study to do my Masters of Teaching. And I fast tracked that to do it in a year and a half, finished at the end of 2019. And then on one of my placements during my Masters of Teaching, I was placed at St Andrews. And I just loved their culture, their students, their staff, their vision. It all seemed to align with my pedagogy as well. And then on the last day of placement, one of the teachers announced that she was pregnant. And at the end of the year, a job became available. I applied, and here we are. This is me going into my second year of teaching at St Andrews.
Fantastic. And so when you were a student, I never knew that you were interested in being a teacher. So tell me, when did you go into your undergraduate degree with that intention, or did you was it something that came to you as you were heading towards your final year?
Well, actually, when I finished school, I enrolled to do a double degree, a Bachelor of Education and Bachelor of Arts. And I did one term and did a 10-day placement at a local school. And the teacher I was placed with, she was amazing, but she had a lot of senior classes. And so I was there as an 18-year-old fresh out of school teaching 17, 16-year-olds. And I thought, this is a little bit too close in age for me, but I knew I wanted to study. So I decided to put that on hold and pursue my other passion, which was public relations, human resources, social media, get some experience in that field, and then go back to teaching later on. So yeah, it kind of was always on the cards.
Excellent. And so now, like, you're teaching English and business. So how has your degree helped you with that, particularly the business side of it?
Massively. I actually haven't taught business last year. I'm teaching it this year. So this will be the first time that I'll have an opportunity to bring in a lot of, the skills, the experience, share some real life stories of what it was like working in social media, working in a communications role with the students. And I think they'll really enjoy that, hearing, real stories, some of the embarrassing mistakes I've made and other successes. So yeah, it should be really fun teaching it this year. But English, PR aligns really nicely because it's all about writing, blogs, media releases, and I've sort of just translated that into an English environment. So yeah, it was fantastic.
Excellent. And so it sounds like really applied stuff. So you're teaching them actual practical skills, which are going to be very helpful.
Exactly, yeah. And now, we do things like blog writing or posts, or we do practical things in business and in English. So it's great to be able to transfer those skills.
Excellent. And so tell me, what has been one of the best pieces of advice that you've been given throughout your career journey?
One of the best pieces of advice, I think it was hanging in a staff room wall somewhere, and it goes something along the lines of this. It was, the students, won't care about what you know until they know that you care about them. And that really stood out to me, because being a teacher is so much more than just an educator or someone who's delivering content. It's actually about knowing your students. And I think that really relates to PR, because we always learn, you've got to know your target audience, you've got to know your stakeholders, and then pitch content and build relationships that are tailored to them. And the same thing in the classroom, you know your individual students, their likes, their dislikes, their siblings, sports they play after school. And it's just about having that connection with them to bring into the classroom. Whether that's, everyone's walking in, you just say, well done, Johnny, saw the award, you got Decemberly, or, nice work on the netball court last night, Julie. Just having that moment to go, hey, we're here for more than just learning about business or English. I actually care about you, and I care about how you're going. So yeah, I think it's just, it's all about relationships. If you don't have a relationship, then it's going to be hard to engage the students in what you're doing.
Absolutely. And it's funny you're talking about that now, because I'm actually writing something at the moment, and I was actually just writing about relationships before we started this, and just how important that having trust is. And so it's almost like when you build that trust with your students, you're then sort of giving them the space to get things right and get things wrong, and to learn, like having that trust that they feel confident enough to learn. Would you agree?
Absolutely. They've got to make mistakes to learn. And I admittedly am a bit of a perfectionist, and I've really struggled to just, I guess, take calculated risks and then learn from it. And that's what I've really encouraged my students to do last year and this year as well. Have that growth mindset to go, hey, I don't know it all. I'm willing to give it a go. I'm willing to take a risk and learn. And they'll only do that if they feel comfortable within their space.
Absolutely, yeah. That getting rid of that fear that they're going to look stupid, or people are going to pick on them, and just have a go. Just having that confidence to have a go. So yeah, no, I completely agree. And so tell me too, what do you think has set you apart from, say, other people who have done placements at that school, because you were offered a job, because clearly you really impressed the staff there. So tell me, what do you think attributes you had as a graduate and a teacher to land that role?
Probably just really shining on your placements, giving it absolutely everything you've got. So that's, planning your lessons well, communicating with your mentors, asking lots of questions, attending things outside of the normal school hours. So whether that's after school, netball, before school duties, staff meetings, twilight training, whatever it is, just getting involved in that school's culture is really important, and making those connections. Also making connections with the kids as well, because they notice that, and they notice, when you're leaving on the last day and the kids are sad to see you go, it's a really nice feeling as well. And I think your mentors pick up on that. So that's definitely, put your best foot forward on placements or internships, but also just be honest and have a willingness to learn. In the interview, I have no doubt they would have had a lot more candidates with a lot more experience than me. And I just went in being very honest about my experience, and very humble, but also just willing to learn and willing to give it my best shot. And I think they saw that as well. I vividly remember, actually, in one of my social media interviews, it was the first social media role I went for, semester 1 of social media minor. So I really didn't know anything, but it was an internship and I thought I'd give it a go. And I was there in the interview and they asked me what SEO meant. And I had absolutely no idea. And then they asked me, what's the difference between reach and engagement? Had absolutely no idea either. And I walked out of the interview thinking I've absolutely bombed it, did not get the job. And then to my surprise, 3:00 that afternoon, they phoned and they said, even though, you don't have the experience or the content knowledge as such, your willingness and positivity and just wanting to give it a go, that was really attractive to them. So, and they took me on, and I really succeeded in that role. I loved working for IC3 Solutions. So thanks for giving me a chance, guys, if you're watching.
And it's so true. I mean, you can learn the details, but it's very hard to learn a new attitude, so and a new approach. And I think when you start a new job anyway, that you often have to relearn a lot of things, because there some details and approaches to things and techniques are very different across different workplaces. So that stuff you need to learn anyway. But yeah, you could have all the technical skills in the world, but if you're not very nice to be around, then what's the point? So tell me as well, what do you think that you learned at university, because you have 2 degrees now? What do you think that you learned that has helped you in your current role, but also when you're out doing sort of communications work as well?
Specific to communications work, I'd probably say a lot of the courses at USC are really real world focused. So you do things like blog writing, like hyperlinking, like creating content, media kits, media releases, and everything that I learned in those courses was directly transferable straight into the industry. So that was super helpful. On a more general level, probably just communication in general, because you need that for every single job. And I found, especially with teaching, one minute you're talking to 11-year-old students in grade 7, the next 40-minute lesson, you're talking to 17-year-old, 18-year-old students in a different subject. And then, you're talking to your colleagues in the staff room, parents. There's every aspect of my job involves communication. So, for example, at the moment, start of the year, I'm sending out emails to all parents and all students, introducing myself, setting up expectations, outlining what we're doing for the term, just so everyone's on the same page. Everyone's got that open, honest communication. It's two ways. In my email, I tell them, please reply, please talk to me throughout the year if you need anything. It's really important to have that open communication between both parties, because if not, that's when you run into problems down the track.
Absolutely. And so what's something a skill that you wish you'd learned at university that you have had to learn while you've been out working?
One to do with social media specifically. My first job with IC3 was based around creating content, creating posts. That was fantastic. Then I moved into more an advertising role, and I had absolutely no idea that Facebook Business Manager exists or what the back end of Facebook even looked like. And it was a lot easier just to click the boost button and forget about actually targeting ads. So one thing would be a little bit more of a focus on how to create ads, how to manage budgets, how to target specific people for products, how to review the analytics and what do they all mean. But again, I learnt that all on the job. I had a fantastic mentor there, Kirsten. And so, yeah.
That's good. And so actually now we have that, because we have a major now in social media and a degree. So we have a course called Social Media Management, where each student has their client for the whole semester. They develop their strategy and then implement it. So if that client wants to run ads, that's what the student has to do. So they learn Business Manager, and they actually hands-on take over their clients' channels for 6 weeks, and then they run all the analytics at the end and provide a report to see how it actually went. So
that's insane. Yeah. I love that so much. That's great, because you're developing those real world connections as well. And you can't get more real world than that. You're dealing with a real client, real situations, real analytics. So no, that's amazing to hear.
Yeah, because I think, look, some of the feedback that I received from employers was that, they want results. So they want to see the results. And I think sometimes at university, that's something that's really hard to provide. We can do sort of hypothetical assignments. Even sometimes working with a real client, you can develop a strategy, but you don't know how it actually went unless you implement it. So that's why we developed that course. So then students can actually show their impact of what their strategy achieved. So yeah, so that's really exciting. So we've had our second year of that, going into our third now.
That's so exciting, because when I first started my degree, the social media minor didn't even exist. I think I was enrolled in events or something else, and then midway through the course it started, and I swapped over to the social media minor. So it's exciting to see it develop.
Yeah. So on that topic of social media, can you tell me something that you've learned social media wise in the last couple of weeks that you could share with us? So it could be a hack, it could be a platform change, it could be just something that you have picked up.
I actually feel so out of touch with social media since not working in the industry. My role used to be largely around, writing blogs weekly or monthly, talking about the new updates and the benefits, the pros, the cons. And I feel like I was all over it. And now I feel very out of touch. But one thing I did pick up on recently, this this girl in Melbourne, I think Melbourne or Sydney, the gifted, talented teacher on Instagram. She's amazing. She posted a guide, and I'd never seen a guide on Instagram before. And it's basically just a blog within Instagram. And then she was linking to where you can purchase her resources. And I thought that was fantastic, because instead of having it, on a story where you have to hold down the story to read all the content, it's just all there in one easy blog style guide. So that's a new feature for me.
Excellent. And so could you maybe tag her in the that account, or put the link to that Instagram account into the Facebook and LinkedIn post of this video? Because that would be great. I'm sure other people would love to see that as an example, and other teachers too, clearly. Excellent. And so do you have any advice to current students, emerging professionals, about ways to succeed in their careers?
Definitely be a go-getter. If there's no opportunities coming to you, go make your own opportunities. You can freelance, you can do your own thing, or work under someone, but just apply. Even if you don't think that you've got the experience for the job that they're looking for, still apply. I used to work in the career development team at USC, and we used to say that the things that the recruiter is after is almost like a wish list for Christmas. And you might not tick off everything on that wish list, but again, if you score an interview and you wow them with your willingness and positivity and attitude, then that just might be what they're after. So be a go-getter, create your own opportunities. And also on the Sunshine Coast, there's this big hidden job market where people sometimes don't tend to advertise on Seek or LinkedIn. Sometimes it is about who you know. So do take on the internships or the volunteering, because you'll make connections through that.
Absolutely. And advice I can give you firsthand is also build up good relationships with your lecturers and other students, because again, that's part of that hidden job market. Like I get requests, usually a few a week, for people asking for students to work for them. So if I can't, and I normally post those in our student group, Facebook group. So stay connected to that sort of stuff, and you can stay part of that even when you graduate. So there are opportunities coming out all the time, but you just have to have your eyes open for them, because there is a lot of stuff going on, particularly on the Sunshine Coast. And the other thing, like you're a great example also of being a go-getter, because I remember that every opportunity that and some were quite crazy, that I would throw out there, you were always there. Like we went on a social media study tour to Vietnam, right? So we spent a week in Vietnam going around to different PR and digital marketing agencies just to see what happened. We went for a cruise on the Mekong and Delta, and we did a cooking class and was nearly flooded out. Like we had some great adventures on that trip, and it's just that's the thing, just realizing, putting yourself up for these things. So what I find sometimes with students is they think that if they have to apply for something, there's no point. They're not going to get it. But sometimes with those study tours, I have to beg people to apply, and they're like free trips overseas, and no one will apply because they think they won't get it. And so just have a go, and it really, it's so worth it when you do. And even if you don't get it, you gain experience just through that application process.
Absolutely, so valuable. And that was such a fun trip to Vietnam. Now it brings back all the memories. Yeah.
So that was great. And so one of my most important questions of this whole show is, who do you like, share and follow?
Mine's not terribly inspiring or work-related, but I like Diamond Valley Kennels, which is it's a dog page on Facebook, and I desperately would like a cavoodle. So I'm quite often on there liking their photos. Share. I rarely ever share to my personal, feed or anything, but I often share via message to individual people, and it's usually the inspired unemployed, or link back related, for a good laugh, or sharing, a pair of shoes that I like with my girlfriend. And follow would be, I'm going to plug again, the gifted, talented teacher. If you are an educator watching this, please go check her out. She's young. I think she's about 27, assistant principal, absolutely killing it in her role. And she incorporates a lot of the research. A lot of the stuff that we did at university comes up within her resources, and she explains the why behind everything. So she's fantastic.
Excellent. So please tag these people, because I'm sure everyone else would like to hear about them as well. And do you have any final words to share?
Just social media, the whole degree at USC was the most real world experience that you could ever want. They often say, you graduate university and it wasn't applicable. It was just a bunch of theory. I did not feel like that at all with my degree at USC. I felt so supported in that degree and gained so much experience that by the time I graduated, I was already working within an industry that I absolutely loved. So if you are thinking of studying, or you are studying at the moment, keep going, keep seizing the opportunities, and all the best.
Oh, thanks, Emma. And so we've had a message to you from Leanne Layfield. And so Leanne says, "Hi, Emma White. You were such a go-getter. Seems like only yesterday you were interning with us at the Caloundra Chamber of Commerce, but it was actually a few years ago now. All the very best."
Oh, thanks, Leanne. Hello, if you're still watching. It's very kind of you. I loved my time at the Caloundra Chamber of Commerce, and actually worked with another USC PR graduate, Sasha. Lost her last name for the moment, but Sasha also worked at the chamber, and she taught me a lot as well. So thank you for having me there, guys.
Excellent. So thanks so much, Emma. And for our next episode for 2021, I'll be chatting to Jade Dorr, who's now a content and communication specialist at Go Logic Group. So thank you so much, Emma, for kicking off 2021.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, and see you next week, everyone.